Lakshmi Iyer joining us from the Kotak Mutual Fund. Lakshmi Iyer is, of course, the Chief Information Officer for Fixed Income and Health Products at Kotak Mutual Funds. Lakshmi, you know, there is a lot of angst, there is a lot of concern. It's on social media, we're getting a lot of queries as well, where people are afraid that is their investment safe when they're talking about debt mutual funds with this entire FMP issue that is burning. So, you know, talk to those that have invested. What exactly is going on? And how are you ring fencing and protecting their investments?
So hi, I need to break this answer into two parts, and you will have to bear with me till I speak. First is that the question right now that we are discussing with respect to the FMPs, specifically that we have paid out monies, is with respect to our exposure to certain promoter entities of the Z Group. The total outstanding debt is in the ballpark region of about 13,500 crores. This is for the Z promoters, of which mutual funds are holding, in a combination of open-ended and close-ended schemes put together, close to 7,000 crores. And all of these are with 8 asset management companies, including Kotak being one of them. So firstly, we're not the only one. There are 7 others with us, number one. Number two is that, yes, of this 7,000 crores, there are several FMPs, including ours, 2 of which matured and returned back monies to the investor. Now, we had 2 options in this particular case when we decided to hold back the Z portion of it, or the promoter part of it, and then return the monies back. We had 2 options at that point in time. A, we were collateralized in terms of security. This particular debenture is backed by Z shares as a collateral. At the time of entering into the transaction around 3 years back, it was 1.5 times. When this deal, you know, the thought process of whether selling, etc. was happening, we're roughly at about 1.4 times. The thought process was always, make no mistake, always was to protect the interest of the unit holders. If we would have invoked, which we had a choice, to invoke the shares, sell off and realize the proceeds and give the entire money back to the investors, that could have been a possibility. It wouldn't have made headlines, but it may not have protected the interest of the unit holders, because I would not be 100% certain how much of Z I would have recovered from the sale of shares. So I think when we evaluated both these options, the second option which we followed was a slightly more difficult path. But if we had to walk that path, and I call it the Agni Pariksha, if we had to walk that path, it was important purely in the interest of the FMP unit holders at this point in time. And that's exactly what we have done. The 2 fixed maturity plans that we returned the money have returned principal plus some returns. Yes, the portion of Z has been retained back, which will be returned in principal plus accrued interest on or before 30th of September, as per what we've communicated to the unit holders.
Lakshmi, you're calling it an ugly pariksha. You know, please bear with me. Let's talk about this a little more. You're saying it's an ugly pariksha. You had 2 options. You chose one option. So here on ET Now, you're guaranteeing that as far as the fixed maturity product goes, the money that you've got with respect to Z, you will return that to the unit holders with accrued interest. Is that accrued interest, the rate of interest, all pre-decided? How is that part going to work? Are you going to, for example, compensate for a late return, for a late redemption?
So A, let me clarify. So A, let me clarify to all the viewers on this show, forget it's Kotak Mutual Fund or anybody else, in no form can there be any guarantee whether it is for an open-ended scheme or a closed-ended scheme. What we are doing, or what we have communicated, which is what I'm sharing with you, we have been engaging with the company. There is intrinsic value in the company. They have come back to us saying that they require some time allowance to be able to sell their company, stake of that which will come to the promoters in the proportion that they hold, and of that proceeds, the debt will be repaid to us. The 13,500 crores of debt that I'm talking about, we own a very small portion, less than 2.5% of that. That portion will be paid to us, as also to other mutual funds. When I get the money, we have given a time extension up until 30th of September, which means that if this sale deal or whatever the transaction gets consummated before that and we get the money, we also would give the money till that date, whatever the coupon or the accrued interest that has accrued on that. And yes, you're right, the accrued interest is the rate at which I would have transacted that bond when I first bought it into the fixed maturity plan. So up until the date, from today's date till the date, say assuming that day happens, say 60 days from today, so the principal plus the coupon on that portion will be taken and completely given to the unit holders. We don't intend to keep anything with us. Is that a guarantee? You honestly know that, as I said, there is no guarantee for life. So there is no way that a mutual fund can really give a guarantee. But yes, you have to take, given the considerations, given the way things are panning out, and obviously the active dialogues we are having with the company, we have certain, feelers in terms of what could be the possible way forward. Basis that, we have given a time allowance of 30th September. We are very happy to give the money much before that, if it happens.
Right. Even if the transaction doesn't go through, say, till September, you still have the pledge share. Maybe there could be a hit which could be taken, but you still have that security with you.
The security is collateralized. In fact, the security is more fortified once we have allowed for the extension. So that makes it a secure transaction. In no form or manner there is an unsecured holding as far as this debenture is concerned. So therefore, that fear at this point in time, I don't think we need to precipitate.
So, let's talk about the overall FMP industry, the overall mutual fund industry. Whenever we look at a mutual fund ad, they always talk about mutual fund investments are subject to market risk. Do you think this is that risk that they are talking about and people have just forgotten about it because this event has really, or such similar events have not happened in really a long time in India?
See, there are always three types of risk when you're making an investment in fixed income. The interest rate risk, which is the market fluctuations on account of the various news that we see, the liquidity risk, and of course the credit risk. In a fixed maturity plan, which is the subject of discussion right now, you are almost mitigating the interest rate risk because you tend to lock the assets almost till the maturity date of the scheme. The liquidity is available only on the exchange. You cannot transact with the mutual fund. So there is that element of liquidity risk. And yes, of course, the credit risk, it's not just today, even 10 years back and 15 years back, the credit risk was always live. So it is the underlying quality of the portfolio that ultimately, yes, there has not been a precedent. You are absolutely right. And let me also submit to the audience who's viewing this show that this is not a case of, having excess liabilities, excess leverage and less of assets. This is a problem of liquidity which will be resolved within time. It is only imperative that we give the time. And as I said, if it were a non-mutual fund consideration, we are in the fiduciary business of managing unit holders' money. So anything and everything that we take a call, and why, again, I would say why I mentioned the word Agni Pariksha, the first one was so easy, right? It wouldn't have created headlines. And nobody would have come to know, especially the broader audience at large. It is important for us to reiterate that when we are taking an action, we do it with the unit holder interest first. And in that, yes, there could be an opportunity loss. There is a time-consuming activity, but it is better to live with
Lakshmi,
a market loss.
Lakshmi, I also just wanted to understand your, what is Kotak Mutual Fund thinking about flows into FMP, flows into balanced funds, flows into various various, instruments that invest into different corporate bonds. There has been an issue with investors, when they don't get the money on time or when they get money delayed. So do you think that flows over there could be interesting, or, there could be redemptions in such schemes now?
I don't think so. I think, okay, let me give you an illustration. Every chest pain need not be a heart attack. It could be something else. It could be a gastro problem also. So my limited submission is that if you have invested money in, say, a sovereign FMP, is that going to default? A sovereign rated, as in you're investing in central government securities and state loans. If you have invested in quasi-sovereigns, are they going to default like the public financial institutions? So I don't think we should paint the entire canvas with the same brush, for the simple reason that every chest pain is not a heart attack. So my only submission is that let's try to understand that this is not an en masse situation which can be plugged and played for everything and probably trigger the panic button. This is a case where there is a hard collateral. It is just that we need to give time allowance to resolve this issue favorably, and if we don't give time, then I think even breathing starts getting choked. So this is a financial market.
So, just a couple of follow-up questions. In terms of the collateral that you have for SL Group, what is the way forward? Say if anything happens, how will the decision come in? How will the decision of the entire group be taken? Say if, the collateral has to be liquidated. And secondly, you have decided to extend the payment and give a part payment. On the other hand, some other fund houses have, extended the timeline of when they are going to pay the entire fund back. So what stopped you from doing that, or what is the benefit of doing that if any other, fund decides to do that later?
See, we have also extended FMPs earlier. There is nothing, in fact, when regulation offers you both alternatives on the maturity, you can either decide to remit the entire money to unit holders, or you can offer an extension subject to 2025 rule, which means that the rolled over portion should have at least 20 investors, with no investor having more than 25%. So in this particular case, obviously we thought it fit that when you are actually not rolling over, you're not taking the second option, you've decided to wind down the scheme on its maturity date. The second rule says that you will act in the interest of the unit holders while liquidating the assets. So which is why we've taken this option. There is nothing right or wrong about any option. But as I said, there was always a risk. What if I did not get 20 investors? What if I did not get, I got 20 investors, but what if I did not get no investor beyond 25%? Then obviously the entire monies have to be remitted. And this is that kind of market scenario, the moment I say BY, it is being construed as BYE. So in that kind of a market scenario, if I offer or make an offer for rollover, who knows, who is confident that how much of monies will actually be agreed to roll over. So I think it was prudent that we actually gave the monies back. And of course, when there are better market situations, better market conditions, and we were not sensing that investor mood also to really offer for an extension. So again, both are legitimate ways, each to his own. There is nothing right or wrong about which path individual AMC can take.
Also, a couple of more things that we needed to understand regarding the sector, regarding how things go forward is, what happens to lending on promoter basis, the debentures that come in the market. Overall, do you expect the mutual fund industry to lower down, their exposure to various promoter groups?
See, again, what happens is that the situation tends to get generalized. A loan against shares is nothing but an NCD or a non-convertible debenture which has a very, very liquid asset which is called shares as collateral. Of course, there have to be checks and balls. So my sense is that going forward, maybe the industry will become slightly more picky, choosy about how they want to transact in this particular area. But I think shunning away this entity or this particular category completely may not be a very prudent way to look at it. As I said, I will quote this at all points in time, that not necessary that in a in a basket of grapes, not that every grapes are sour. So I think it's very important to identify where is the root cause and try to work around that rather than generalizing the entire thing. I don't think that's the way forward. Investors might get a little bit cagey, but as I said, that's part of life. We need to handhold and ensure that if you have done something which is rightful and which you believe is in the interest of the investor, then I think it will get a very, very valid hearing.
Lakshmi, you know, while we are a responsible news channel which do not like to create panic, responsibility also means giving right information to the investors. You know, as you know, we at ET Now believe in mutual funds. Look at what we've done with Jan Nivesh. We try to secure people's future. Having said that, you know, you guys, 9 of you, 10 of you together got it wrong with SL Group. You can call it ugly pariksha today. With that exposure, 7,000 crore rupees. Obviously, investors are worried. Unit holders are extremely worried. Have you thought about what's going to happen in case the promoters are unable to sell the entity? What happens then? You know, I think the investors will want to know that. What happens then? And you know, all of you also got it wrong, not just on Zee or SL Group, but you know, in the past with, let's say, an RNFS as well. So there is a bigger problem. The problem needs to be, we need to see it being contained as well. So can you talk to us a little bit about that? What happens if Zee is not sold, especially by the deadline that you're giving?
Sure. I tend to disagree that it is a call gone wrong for the simple reason, as I mentioned to you, that when a transaction of this sort is undertaken, there is enough and more due diligence which is done on the underlying business fundamentals, which in this case continues to be a very solid run entity. So I don't take that it was a wrong decision to invest in the SL Group companies which were backed by Zee shares, point number one. Second is, these investments were made 2.5 years back. Of course, the situation then was much different. There have been cases based on the share movements up and down. The share collaterals have been topped up and topped down. So all that in the process, as a mutual fund manager, those responsibilities have been judiciously met out. These are those kind of scenarios. Post the ILFS saga, there has been a complete V-turn in sentiment. See, your lung capacity might be excellent, mind you, and mine might be poor. But both of us are put in a room and there is no oxygen. How good is your lung capacity? So I don't think this is a case of that sort. To my mind, if there is an intrinsic value for the company, there is no doubt that it will eventually get resolved. We have to give time. Yes, the question is very valid. What happens in a case where
Lakshmi, I get your point.
There is no resolution in sight till maybe...
Okay. Fair enough, Lakshmi. I take your point. You know, we're running out of time. My producers are forcing me to take... My producer forcing me to take a commercial break. I'm sorry, we haven't done that in a while, but here's an open invitation to join us live again at 5:30 p.m. and answer viewer queries directly. We'll put you in touch with the viewers directly with their questions, and you know, many of them might be your unit holders as well.